they break the overlap, do they still owe, does yellow still have rights?
Yes.
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 Yellow has rights on everything.
They never lost
It
rights.
They never lost
stands.
rights.
Yep.
It's as it stands when they enter the circle, so.
As
blue-
soon as these guys get to the circle,
Right.
whether they get it to it here, however they get there, everybody that's behind this is that way from this line is overrun.
And the same is true for red.
Yep.
Right.
So coming back to Paul's question about the quote, tactical rounding, absent any vote, you would do a tactical rounding.
Mm-hmm.
Is a tactical rounding considered proper course when you're overlapped with red coming in?
No.
Proper court now, because it says what it's to sail close to it. So you have to go straight to it. You have to go close to it. When you're overlapped. If you're clear head, clear stern, you could go tactical and go.
So they could just pass the mark because you transitioned. You've now come to the mark. Blue's ahead, but red's overlapped on the outside. Blue does not decide to, for whatever reason, to come up to close haul because of whatever. There's something wrong. At what point can red basically give a love tap and say you're out?
Right there. As soon as blue is past the mark,
Stern past the mark.
as soon as blue is past the mark, they have to do everything they can, proper course, etc. Once they are past the mark, they must go to their proper course because, they must go to red's proper course because red is a lure boat.
And the only option is to protest and go to the jury.
Yep.
So then that's my situation where Fast Company here is always caught in this the downwind market Thursday nights with the 80s coming in too. So if the 70s come and we navigate through, we're trying to go upwind, and the crew of 80s is coming in downwind behind us.
Well, then you have opposite tax.
Right, but his proper course might be to dock, right? And
Right,
they're
they're
not
talking
really
about
at the
mark
age,
forward,
right,
something
so.
like
Well, right, that's obstruction.
So just help me kind of understand then.
Okay, so here-
What am I watching looking? Because I'm watching, so we'll say,
Which one are you, blue or red?
well, you're obviously blue and I'm obviously red. Right?
That's
So we got Mac Attack in blue, Fast Company in red, and some, one of the 80s coming in on yellow.
Uh-huh.
And so John and I are back there, we're telling dad jokes as we go around the leeward mark, that's just what we do. And then, but what are we watching for as we're coming in? Because, a lot of times you have a couple of these guys coming in, doing their own magic through here, and we're trying to do that, and they're yelling at us and watching for.
Well, okay, so the question becomes, let's roll backwards. As I said before, what rules apply between green and yellow?
Where start?
Green and yellow.
Green and yellow.
Oh, green and yellow.
Clear ahead.
Clear head, clear stern.
Or
And what tack are they on?
start.
What rules apply between blue and yellow?
Or start.
10.
Yeah. What rules apply between blue and red? Right, there you go. Now, there's also, we start getting into 19 and 16.
Was thinking single for 16.
No, that's
She
what it
didn't get
does.
that far.
Yeah, she only stopped at 14.
14.
So, at this point, blue, yet red is also restricted by Rule 16. 16 says that a right-of-way boat must give a keep clear boat room to keep clear.
That's I call it obstructions, that's what I would say.
No, obstruction's a whole other word. That's a whole other thing.
Okay, got it.
And in this case, red can't just say, okay, you gotta go up, because he's pushing him into a breaking a rule situation. So that's not giving him room to keep clear, because he has to not be, you don't want him to break a rule, right? You can't force him to break a rule like that.
I would never make.
So now, you've gotta do, at this point, you're both sailing down, because he's gotta avoid the obstruction. You've gotta let him go, because the starboard tacker, you've gotta come down here, maybe stay low, do whatever you have to do. As soon as you get past the obstruction, which is this other green boat, he's gotta go up, back up to his proper course.
But so it's still simple
Yeah.
that yellow and green have right of way purely because they're on start.
Absolutely.
Has nothing to do with who was in the zone earlier, because we were past the mark, we're on, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
What's the cost? Cost?
Matters not.
Yeah.
It's just like going upwind. Here they come. Oh, right? Same thing, because these guys, you have gotten past the mark.
Yeah.
Mark room no longer applies to you. They're coming into the mark, so you don't, your mark room doesn't apply from you to them. So it's all, it's all clean.
Okay, thank you for that. Apologize, but thank you for helping me think through it.
That's good.
Good issue.
No, it's always good. If we can have the overhead shot of every mark around.
That's the one you always want, right?
That would be fantastic.
All right, so now we're coming into a lured finish. Pink and green, what rules apply between pink and green?
We're starting.
What else?
Wow.
Anything else?
They're in the zone, they get, green gets.
Yeah, the red zone, so pink
So
has to
rule
get
18
green.
applies as well.
Right, because it only doesn't apply at the start, not at the finish. People screw that up all the time.
Back to the preamble of section C.
See, right.
But that wouldn't be the case if they're going to a window finish.
Say that again? That wouldn't be the case of what?
No, it's still
No,
before starting.
same.
We port starboard. When-
Just port starboard.
Just
you can
port
take
starboard.
it past the mark.
Right, because they're not overlapping.
Window finish.
Right.
Yep.
But here they got on.
Well, it's port starboard, yep. You can force them to tap. So here,
So green owes pink.
no,
No.
pink goes
Pink goes
green.
green.
Here goes three others.
Room to finish.
But
Green has to let green.
Wait, say it again. I lost the ball there. Green.
It's like a lured mark.
Yes, room to finish. They call for room to finish even though they're on port tack, but pink doesn't have to give them anything other than
Room to make a C.
not hit the mark. Nope, not even.
Okay.
It's room to not hit the mark.
Right.
There's
And-
no
and-
advantage. Pink owes green no advantage here, just, they're not gonna make them hit the mark.
Green needs to go straight down to the mark and finish.
Does that,
Wait.
so,
Green, go,
Pause.
I have to say it again just so I get it.
Ladies first.
Green owes pink.
Pink owes green.
no, pink goes
Pink
green.
owes green.
So, if pink goes green, does that mean green going straight and not jiving? Or are we forcing green to jive to be as close to the pin as possible?
Green has a proper course restriction. They cannot go above or beyond their proper course. Their proper course is not to go straight out there to the middle of the finish line. They would go directly to the mark.
So they have to
But
jive.
if that requires a jive, then it requires.
If it requires a job, it requires a job.
Understood.
Because they still need to keep clear
I
of
guess
pink.
that's
They
what I
still
was
have to
thinking
keep
about.
clear of pink.
That is what I was thinking about,
Yes.
is that they had to make the job.
You might have to.
Might have to make the job.
At some point, they probably will. I've been in this scenario before, and you just go drive down hard. Now, pink has an obligation to give you room to to get there, and so if you jive and your boom hits them, and it was a relatively controlled jive, it's on them. They didn't give you room.
Okay.
Okay.
So what if
I
that
skipped
pin,
But you still have to go straight down there.
I skipped a step.
what if the
I
pin was
thinking-
further downwind, such that the committee votes now, kind of favored you for current in there? The line's really short. Am I still, that's green, can I still go to the boat or do I have to go to the pin?
No, at this point, because you're in the zone to that mark, you've got to go to that mark.
The way to
You
think
get
about-
mark room on that one.
What if it was a 3 boat length line?
That's,
It's a bad thing.
Is it that big?
Bad
No, but
Well,
I'm saying-
but you know what though, you can't, because if you, once you're not following proper course, once you're not sailing in your proper course, port starboard applies.
Right. So pink is restricted, but still has port starboard, right?
Exactly. Pink is still a right-of-way boat.
So you still have to keep clear, but pink has to make it so that green
Exactly.
has room to keep.
So in this situation, in the scenario that you're just talking about, all right, we'll make this a really short line here. And
Boat ends favored.
There's a finish line.
Yeah.
right? Because green is coming across, red's coming down. This is a port starboard scenario right here. Green has to keep clear under all circumstances. They can't force starboard to tack or jibe or do anything because green has an obligation to go to the mark. Green also here has an obligation, if that's that close, to give red mark room on this one. So green is kind of hosed all the way around. Green has to go down to that mark and red could do this.
Red can do that either way, right?
Yes.
That's Red's prerogative. They're giving them room to get around.
Yep, they're giving them room to go around that other market and giving them, they're giving them room to keep clear. They can do that.
All right, so now do it the other way, where's the thin end too?
All the night.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Because that, yeah, that. Well, you have green too far forward. Move green back a little bit, where there's still an option.
To,
Well,
Green has.
show me what you want. Show me what you mean.
Step up to the board.
I don't want to. Can red keep green from finishing?
No.
No, can't keep them from finishing because there's a zone.
Right? Not from
This-
finishing, but getting from them, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, here,
Right.
red owes green room to go there.
Inside the zone. Outside the zone, you force green.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the zone.
Once you hit the 3 boat lengths,
Yeah, once you hit the 3 boat length zone though,
you have to let him,
you have to let him finish.
okay.
Now, it could be a crappy, oh my God, sneak through, that's fine.
As long as green doesn't foul red.
Right, if green fouls red and green is really close to here, I'm gonna say that red was a problem.
Right.
But if it's out here like this and green is flailing about, then green probably fouled red.
All right, so my question on, its proper course, I think it's proper course, hold on, is with the J70, a well-sailed J70 has the option to go to the wing and sail dead down. Not everybody is going to use that option, so I could see a boat saying, we're not really good at the wing, so proper course for us is to keep reaching to the line because we're faster reaching than we are dead down. Now another boat might say, yeah, you just drive to the wing and go to the mark. And so
which boat is right of what?
Well, so it's your exact scenario right here, where green was inside and obligated to sail the shortest course to the mark, but the shortest course might be on the wing. But can green argue, we're no good at the wing, so we need to reach?
No.
They have to go close to it.
Put your kite down.
It just says.
Okay, so it's
Because
not
what's
based
gonna
on,
happen is.
it's not based on the skills of the boat.
No,
it's
not
in-
necessarily, but out here, out in the middle of the race course, yes it is. If he is more comfortable going on a wing, not winging, and he's going along, that's fine. Here, his obligation the problem he has is he's going wing dead down, right? He's coming here. He has an obligation to keep clear of him no matter what.
Okay.
Okay, and if that means that he gets over here, he's got a jibe to go like that, and he's got a jibe to go like that. Because there's nothing that says his obligation on the starboard boat goes away. Okay, so he can't force the starboard boat to go up like that.
Oh, right, because it's the other boat's proper course.
It's this
not
guy's
green's
proper- his-
course, it's red's proper course.
Well, because red is on starboard, proper course really doesn't have anything to do with it. Red has to allow him to go to the mark and around it. That's his only obligation,
Go
is
past
to
it.
allow this guy to go to the mark and pass it.
Okay.
And if he goes out there further, then we're gonna say that he's taking too much room. And he's fouling the starboard tack.
Okay.
And then blue and yellow, go back to, our big discussion, that's just plain old port starboard. may want to finish the boat, but yellow wants to finish the mark, so blue's got to do what yellow.
But they're very close to the three.
Very close, but they're not
So
in it.
when blue jives, they'll be in that zone.
And then yellow has to let them go to the one, has to give them room to fly.
Now, what if, and I'm maybe splitting hairs here, but yellow's end of its move is touching the three-leg zone.
It's a boat.
It's the boat itself, it's not the boat.
And it's
Right. I thought, yeah, because the boat is part of the equipment, right?
Let's see.
That's
But
fascinating.
then you,
Because it's in its normal position.
It's in its normal position. It's
but then if you continue sailing straight, you exit the circle.
Yeah, you go back out of it.
Okay, but what if one wanted to jive and go around, I guess?
Once you're in the circle, are you always in the circle? Can you leave the circle?
You
Yes.
can leave
You
the
can
circle.
circle.
That's big.
Because I mean, it's happened before where you're like going in a light wind and the current just fucking takes you away from your car.
I am trying to keep this YouTube video, I want to be able to check kid friendly.
Alright,
Can we just mellow out just a little bit on the F-bombs?
Yes, sir.
Greg.
Alright.
Sorry, John.
It's your fault. It's all your fault.
It's for the children.
It's for the kids.
It's for the kids. So,
I know, alright, so.
the area, the zone is a defined term. The area around a mark within a distance of 3 hull lengths of the boat nearer to it. A boat is in the zone when any part of her hull is in the zone, so the sprint doesn't count anymore.
Oh,
Right, same at the finish.
but it does count for overlap, boat-to-boat overlap.
Make sure, I may have misspoken, I do that all the time.
Because downwind, that's key. Your bowser doesn't count.
One boat is clear astern of another when her hull and equipment in normal position are behind a line of beam from the aftermost point of the other boat's hull.
So it does.
So, and that includes the rudder, right? So if the rudder sticks out a foot beyond the transom,
Yes.
then that is normal equipment in normal
Yep,
position.
and other's hull and equipment in normal position, so yes, it's the rudder.
Yeah, it does.
Does that include enough water which is
Those rails overlap.
If that's normal, if that's equipment in normal position, yes. You could argue that. All right, we've got through that one. Anybody have any other things they want to talk about? Yes, sir.
Starting line.
Yes.
Boat's on starboard.
Go ahead and show me.
To the board, please.
To the board, please.
To the board.
Oh, here's a, yep, and here you got the race mini boat, you got Mark.
Well, marks on the boat really don't apply to this. So, call it 30 seconds before the start. Boat's coming in, right? They're closer, I guess. Come in. This guy tacks, but never completes his tack. This boat does avoid contact. This guy stays here for 5 seconds or so, bears off and goes. As this boat, when you go to the room, how do you prove your case?
So the question is, let's go back to the whole, and the best way to prove your case is to understand what rules apply and when they apply. So in this case, you're talking about at position 1, port starboard. At position 2.
Tack.
Yes.
Still port starboard.
Still port starboard.
Right.
Still port starboard.
Yeah.
Until his bow goes through head to wind, this is still a port starboard. Once his bow goes through head to wind, rule 13 applies. Okay?
In which case, green boat still has no rights because they're.
Bingo. They are still attacking boat. So they must keep clear of everybody else.
And that's big, that's how you do it, right? If you're red.
And if you're forced to go head to wind,
To keep clear.
to keep clear, that's what you said. He came up, head to wind, never came down to a close hull course, and forced me to go up head to wind.
Okay, but green goes into the room and says, I completed my tack. I didn't go head to win. All right, I went head to win, but I immediately came to my tap. So now it's a he says, she says.
Well, now, hold on. Now, yes and no. Because when did you have to start to alter course?
Well, so, and this is another tricky part because you know what green's gonna do. So a lot of times you will actually alter your course to get up and away, right?
Because green's trying to steal your
Because you know what green's doing. So
Right, but,
sometimes as red, you're gonna make a defensive move and actually
well, but
punch
see
out
now,
sooner than you would have had to.
but see, that's, you've made a conscious decision to do something that you weren't forced to do. And I mean forced by somebody breaking the rule. So if you do this, right, he's coming in and you see him start to go up, and so you go up hard early, and then he comes up and does this, he's not breaking a rule anymore. Because you've put clear space between the two. Okay? So he's keeping clear. You've gone head to win on of your own volition.
Okay.
So nobody broke a rule in this
Could you
situation.
argue that you're breaking 14 because you're keeping clear,
What's that?
avoiding collision?
No, let's see, that's kind of what I'm saying is that because you're so far apart,
You can't say
you can't say that there was no contact. And so since there wasn't any contact, you can't say that 14 was broken. Okay? If you come in here, if he's coming in and he goes up and you have, he starts to go up and you have to go up and you end up really close aboard him, then you have a thing to say, well, wait a minute. How could we have ended up side by side when I was head to win and you said you went down to there? So you are going to say we were side by side when I was head to win. We were both aiming head to win and we were within 6 inches of each other. At that point, he's either going to have to try to say that he went woo, or he loses. Because you are now head to win, he's still head to win. There's no way he could have physically gone to here and then come back in the amount of time that you're talking about. So that's what you're trying to prove.
Right.
But if you make a decision, okay, we got a port starboard here, you know what he's going to do, and he starts to go up, and you decide to go up here, there's gap here, that's on you. He didn't break a rule. He kept clear because of your actions. You let him keep clear. Does that make sense?
Okay, so take a little further. So